for AMDXers especially, adjacent channel splatter and interference from strong stations can be kind of one of those things that we've learned to kind of live with. Maybe it's a strong station in your area. Here in New Orleans, we have WWL 870. It's a 50,000 watt station, and it makes 860 and 880 kind of hard to DX sometimes because of the splatter. Even maybe it's a strong skywave station, like we have WBAP 820 in Fort Worth, Texas, and at night 810 and 830 can be kind of problematic because of WBAP. But what if I told you that there's a way that I can just get rid of that station that's causing the splatter and allow us to DX those frequencies off to the side that we want to DX from? Well, Airspy's co-channel canceller actually makes that possible. Let's take a look. All right, so here is the process you would use to get rid of adjacent channel splatter and allow you to DX off to the side of those really strong stations. Now, a huge thank you to Youssef from Airspy. We reached out to him with the scenario just to make sure we kind of understood the process, and he walked us through step by step exactly what would need to be done, and it works brilliantly. Before we show you the actual process, just a really quick reminder of how we traditionally have attacked this problem. I have a local station here in the New Orleans area on 830 kilohertz, KGLA in Norco, Louisiana. And this is how strong they are. Okay, so pretty big signal there. You can see on the waterfall how wide they really are down in 820 and up in 840. Makes it kind of difficult to DX those. As a matter of fact, here's what 840 would sound like. Here's 820.
The sooner you can get on my formula, the better odds you're going to have of having over 60. I would definitely start with kids for development and immunity.
So what we typically have done in the past to kind of alleviate this is we would go to, if we're on the frequency below the strong station, we would go to lower sideband.
Problems start to turn on,
and that moves us away from the splatter a little bit more, but it cuts our bandwidth down in half. But we're only listening to that or in this case, lower side of the sideband. I want to have the binaural mode. I want to have the full bandwidth at my disposal. Same thing on the upper side. If we were sitting on 840 above the frequency where the strong station is, I would move to upper sideband. Right? This is a noisy night. We have some lightning crashes from storms and things like that. So that's how I would typically kind of address this, is I would move to either lower or upper sideband accordingly to move kind of away from the splatter. But if I don't want to do that, if I want to have my full bandwidth available, binaural mode, all the cool stuff, how do I just get rid of that station? So here's what we do. You tune to the frequency of the station that you want to get rid of. In this case, I want to get rid of KGLA and Norco on 830. I want to DX on 840 and on 820. So I'm going to go to my radio tab. I'm going to make sure I'm in DSB. And let's go ahead and just do our normal co-channel canceller process here to get rid of this station. So I'm going to hit play. And on our micro tuner down here, you're going to start to see the peak develop here for KGLA. That's the station we want to get rid of. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of them now. All right, move my red line to the middle of that peak as much as I possibly can. And now we're going to dial in some correction. You have to enable it first, Lloyd. And I'm only going to dial in enough correction that I need to get rid of the signal. So there you go. That should be about where I want it to be, is to get rid of that signal. That's enough correction to get rid of them. So now I've got KGLA canceled. But if I go to 840, doesn't help me. If I go to 820, doesn't help me. It only works on 830 because that's where the signal is that I want to get rid of. So how do I allow myself to hear 820 and 840 while I'm canceling out 830? Here's how you do it. Go to your radio tab, go to the bandwidth, and type in 30,000. We're now widening our bandwidth to 30,000 hertz. That allows us to incorporate 820 and 840 within the received signal that we're listening to. So now the co-channel canceller is sitting on 830, right on the middle. It's canceling out that carrier that we don't want. We've now widened our bandwidth to allow signals on both 820 and 840 to come through. So they'll be heard at the same time. So it's like you're listening to both frequencies at the same time. But here's how we make this work. Now I'm going, actually all three frequencies at one time. Here's how I'm going to make it work. I'm going to go to, let's type in here on our IF offset here in the co-channel canceller. We want to increase this to 10,000 hertz, okay? Now you can go plus, you can go minus. I'm going to start with the plus and then I'll show you the minus side. And what we're basically doing is we're shifting the IF frequency from this 830 that we're dialed up to right now to have it listen on, in this case, because it's positive, 10,000 hertz up, which is 840. If I had a negative in front of that number, it would look down 10,000 hertz and it would be on 820. Okay, we're going to show you both here. So now I've got my bandwidth set to 30,000. I've got my IF offset at 10,000. Now I just go to my IF spectrum display here. And all these little plugins, a micro tuner, IF spectrum, all that stuff can be found over here in the hamburger menu if you don't have it pulled up. And I'm going to shrink this down to 5 kilohertz on either side of my 0 here. So I want to have my edges on the 5K line right here. What that's doing is that's rolling off those last 5,000 hertz or so in this filter so that I don't have that high-pitched, really high ringing sound that we heard earlier. And here is what we're going to have. So this is listening now on 840. All right. So now I'm listening on 840, even though my dial says 830, which you can't see here in the thing because of the crop. My frequency is set at 830. We're still right here on 830 in the center, but I'm listening on 840 because I've moved my offset. Now let's do the opposite of that. Let's go down 10,000 or 10 kilohertz, 10,000 hertz. And we're going to go back up here. Let me find a good spot. Right about here.
At drnews.com for all your supplement needs. And be sure to join us again next week for another great show. I'm Chris McKay. Have a great day, everybody. The preceding program was furnished by Dr. News Drivers and their heads.
So this is now 820. We're going to prove it here in a second.
820 WBAP AM, Fort Worth, Dallas, 93.3 WBAP FM, Baltimore City, Dallas, 99.5 KPLS FM, HD2, Fort Worth, Dallas.
So there you go. I'm listening on 820 because I'm down 10,000 hertz, right? Down below the main frequency. We're on 830. And I'm listening on 820, but I've canceled out my local station that's causing all that splatter. They're still there, but the software has canceled them out, so I don't have that splatter. So I can hear that station that's underneath. Now let's do it one more time here. I'm going to show you guys the process one more time just to show you that it's not just a one-time thing. We're going to undo everything that I just did. Widen this filter back out on the IF spectrum. We're going to go down here to our radio tab. I'm going to get rid of that, take that back down to 8450. We're going to get rid of this and go down to 0. And let's go down here to 800 kilohertz. I have a local station here in the New Orleans area, WSHO. They're a religious station here in New Orleans. Right? Now,
after the source of light has gone.
So now I've got this local station here. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of them now using first my micro tuner here in the code channel canceller. So I go to my micro tuner and I'm going to set my red line here, my peak, my center, my line here, right in the middle of the peak of that signal. So that's going to get rid of, once I hit enabled and dial in my correction, we're going to get rid of the BSSHO, right? Let's go ahead and do that. So there we go. One more time, I should probably do it. Okay, so now I've dialed in enough correction to get rid of WSHO. So now we need to widen our bandwidth so we can include 790 and 810 into our received area. We have that real high-pitched nastiness. We're going to get rid of that. Don't worry. Now we're going to go to negative 10,000 on our IF offset. So now we're looking down below 800 on 790. If you want to look above, you don't do the negative. You just do 10,000, right? So negative puts you below the frequency that you're on. Positive, no negative, means you're going above. So now we got our 10,000 hertz IF offset. Let's roll off that filter a little bit so we don't have that nasty high-pitched sound. Hit unmute. Hear the clicks? There it is. There's the RR Morse code ID from Radio Reloj in Cuba. And that's because we're listening on 790, but we're actually tuned to 800, where we're getting rid of our offending station that we don't want to hear. So that's it. That's how you go through the process of getting rid of a strong station that is causing adjacent channel splatter on, either side of the frequency that it sits on. And you can get rid of that station and still DX those adjacent channels. And hopefully get some more DX that way. Hopefully this video has been helpful for you, and if so, we'd appreciate it if you gave us a thumbs up, and a comment is always going to be helpful for the channel as well. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. That way you'll be notified when new videos are available as well. From all of us here at DX Central, my friends, thank you for watching Best of DX 73. Let's hit the bands.
Keep up with DX Central. Follow us on Twitter at DX Central.